So a little while back, we got this bombshell report that we'd be seeing 2023 be the first year without a Call of Duty premium title launching in the modern history of the franchise. The first time that we wouldn't have an annual release, and that raised so many questions on how that would work. Many people were like, man, that sucks, nothing new to play for an entire year, while others were like, good, give the devs enough time to make a complete, solid game. So wherever you stand on that subject, though, the prospect of an entire gap year is entirely uncharted waters for the COD scene. So how, as players, will we navigate that? Today, we got wind of a rumor that may actually answer that may look to provide some clarity as to what a gap year of Call of Duty could hold and what that next following 12 months may entail. Today, we're breaking down what the future may hold for the first gap year of COD and what also may be more in the future. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Would you guys like to see these gap years supplemented by what we're discussing here with this? Do you think that we'll see something different? Do you even think we'll get any gap years at all? Drop your thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. As well, if you're new to the channel, do be sure to subscribe button to stay updated with all things COD, whether it be Warzone, Modern Warfare 2 here, presumed to be coming later this year, or just anything in relation to current events like loadouts, updates, tips, and tricks. We've got you covered here on the channel, and I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, if you guys would like to support the channel a little further, an entirely optional way to do so is by using creator code Espresso in the in-game shop of either Vanguard, Cold War, Modern Warfare, or Warzone. It's entirely optional, seriously, don't ever feel pressure to do so, but if you ever do, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out to some of your generous support in upcoming videos. That said, let's jump into it. So how could we possibly fill this void? Remasters. Now, that's something that has been talked about for quite some time, but the topic has come up again recently. Now, we've seen how these work before in the past, but they didn't quite work as well as perhaps we as players, or from an administrative perspective, the developers and publishers would have wanted. For those that remember, Modern Warfare Remastered was something that was our first entry into this idea of remastering something here, but it was released to try and bolster the sales of Infinite Warfare and was actually used as a bargaining chip until late June of the following year. But right out of the gate, that caused a unique and new problem for Call of Duty as a franchise and the communities to follow. Right out of the gate, you had players playing Infinite Warfare, and you had players playing Modern Warfare Remastered. For the first time, there was that divide that severely undercut the other game. Hence why when Modern Warfare 2 Remastered launched in March of 2020, it was campaign only, and we never saw that multiplayer despite it being rumored to have been completed for quite some time now. That's something that we're probably going to discuss here in a later video, likely this weekend perhaps, but back on topic here, remasters haven't really worked in the past, so why would they now? But that's where that gap year comes into play, and where this now becomes a new unique opportunity here for this. These wouldn't necessarily be something to bolster additional sales and thus split the player base at a launch of 2 games all at once, but instead be additional sort of time killers for those that want to stay invested into Call of Duty and perhaps could have wandered off from what is presumed to be the Modern Warfare 2 year of support here afterwards. According to insider Ralph's Valve, Activision are reportedly considering releasing remastered Call of Duty titles repurposed for newer consoles to fill out the empty space between premium Call of Duty titles, playing directly into that gap year. So that spawns so many questions. What games? Full or campaign only? What kind of MTX will we inevitably see? And does this line up with anything that's been reported so far? Well, as for what games, Ralph stated that he's heard of discussions of World at War, Call of Duty 1 and 2, and backwards compatibility for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered are currently what's in the conversation. Everything else was described by an associate as complicated. And he followed that up by saying that this isn't perhaps the full picture, and the games like COD 4 Modern Warfare Remastered would instead be a Switch version, because it'd be redundant to add either backwards compatibility to a game that's already been backwards compatible on Xbox before, and also has had its own full-fledged remaster in the not too distant past. So that's stuff that he said was on the table, but might not actually be all. Personally, if that happens, I don't see them really holding up. I don't see those titles holding too much weight. All of those games are great in their own right, sure, but COD 1 and 2, I don't think would connect with this generation of the gaming audience. World at War, while perhaps the best of those after Vanguard, I don't think that we're going to be seeing too much in regards to World War II in the near future. Now, why things outside of that would be complicated is perhaps the very nature of why Modern Warfare Remastered became a problem to begin with. If you remaster, say, Black Ops 2, does that then outlive the year of support that it's given perhaps, and then maybe cause problems for the upcoming game of Treyarch in 2024? We'd have to wait and see. But that said, would this then be full or campaign only? Idealistically, I think we can talk firstly about gap years. If you want to fill a whole year of content, to me, it has to be a full game, or at least the MP and the campaign at the minimum. Though I'd love to revisit some older third modes, populated again and redesigned for current tech. I mean, Black Ops 1 and 2 zombies on current hardware, count me in for sure. Realistically speaking though, would they do campaign only? I think that really is where it comes down to their intent on when they'd be releasing this kind of stuff, and the overall ideas of if it's going to fill a gap year or if it'd be something like Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remaster, because that was released in the main year of the most anticipated game of many years prior, Modern Warfare 2019, and literally in the same month as Warzone launching. But it was still something that created enough of a buzz that it lasted for about a month or two on its own and was a huge quick cash grab for the publishers. So it's very possible that if they don't necessarily pertain to gap years in and of itself, that we could see something like campaign only, where maybe World at War's campaign is dropped and is a $10, $15 bundle in conjunction with something else like we saw with Modern Warfare 2019 and that Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remaster, where depending on how you looked at it, for the same price as a bundle, you either got the Campaign Remaster for free, or if you wanted to buy the Campaign Remaster, you got the bundle for free. It was just a matter of perspective, which side of the coin you really subscribe to there. But while I think that we absolutely can see gap years filled with full-fledged remasters, it might explain why some of these projects of the oldest Call of Duty titles may be first up on the discussion board. Maybe those ones aren't meant to fill an entire gap year, but instead are meant to add some substance to Call of Duty's content in the summers, when things are, statistically speaking, the most dead in terms of player count, content distribution, and things like that in years past. So maybe that's just something that we may get both ends of those spectrums. Now, of course, if this happens, especially a full-fledged game, that's something that the topic of microtransactions will definitely be in there. Modern Warfare Remastered is the only thing we can really compare it here to, because that's the only thing we've seen. But that was a game that was caught up in the mess that was the oversaturated microtransaction era for Call of Duty. But I may actually want to talk about this in its own discussion, because there's so much here to it, the depth of it, but I think that Modern Warfare Remastered is probably the best of a terrible situation that it was put in. You had things like collections that you could get everything with ease for simply playing and chipping away at items that you wanted. But the nicest part is that we don't really have to envision that in the same sort of light, because supply drops are no longer a thing here. If we were to see a microtransaction system, I'd imagine, especially if we end up getting a game that's meant to last an entire year in terms of remasters, that we get new content or DLC packs mixed with new content, new weaponry, and all that kind of stuff to keep players playing. And on the game itself, I'd imagine if we see a microtransaction system, that would then follow what we have now, where supplemental revenue is pushed through a shop where you can see exactly what you're getting, and it wouldn't be a supply drop cash out like we saw in the Modern Warfare Remastered era. But that said, rounding out everything here, is there any evidence that we could see this even happening? Well, actually, yes. The original report of that gap year even mentioned something that could line up here with this, where Jason Schreier in his report with Bloomberg said that Activision is working on other projects to fill the gap year next year. A Call of Duty game is set to come out this fall that will receive a steady stream of additional content, and there will be a new free-to-play online title next year, said the people. Treyarch, the Activision-owned studio working on the now-delayed game, will also help with the free-to-play title. We have an exciting slate of premium and free-to-play Call of Duty experiences for this year, next year, and beyond, a spokesperson for Activision wrote in an emailed statement. We look forward to sharing more details when the time is right. So not only could this line up with this being something that's already backed up, but it also could be something that maybe even adds into the equation free to play. Other sources having said that the statement doesn't pertain to Warzone 2, maybe a free-to-play offering of a remastered game could be on the horizon. I mean, imagine Black Ops 2 Remastered, campaign, multiplayer, maybe even zombies. If it was free to play, that would see those player counts soar to numbers reminiscent of what was maybe even the peak of 2012 and beyond. I mean, one can dream, right? Will that happen? Who knows? But if Treyarch is developing one of these free-to-play offerings, perhaps it is a remaster of Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and maybe it leads directly into what their project may be in 2024. I mean, imagine that, a Black Ops 2 remaster when Black Ops 2 is set in 2025, where the next rumored Treyarch game is something that's said to be near future, where it's modern, but not necessarily modern day, the same day that the game comes out. That would be 2024, 2025. You can play nicely into that Black Ops storyline here that we have with all of that. Perhaps it's something that allows nostalgia and players to reminisce in the past while also being a future teaser of what's on offer. But maybe we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. That's where we're going to wrap it up, though. An interesting rumor for sure here that perhaps the gap years in the future could be supplemented by seeing the classic Call of Duty games return with new offerings, new continued support, and everything like that. So how would you feel here about this? Would you like to see Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3 as a remastered title to end up filling in those gap years so that instead of a Call of Duty game every year, it's a new Call of Duty game every other year? But there's still something to be played in the franchise during all of that time. happen. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Of course, it is all speculation and theory right now. Maybe we'll see what the future holds here. So if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing running all things Call of Duty, whether it be remaster talks like this, Modern Warfare 2 stuff here in the future, Warzone, Vanguard, and anything else retrospective in the meantime. If you're interested in any of that, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you in the community. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.